way too much for money. Money can't buy me love, it can't buy me love. Oh, sorry, I didn't know anybody was here. Well, just let me say that while I got you here, that in my life, it seems like only yesterday, down that long and winding road, a night when America would come together. Oh, some said, let it be, but millions knew it was something of a magical mystery tour. You see, those are only 7 of many top 10 Beatles songs that I dropped there just a few days before the 50th anniversary of a night that changed music and in many ways changed America. February the 9th, 1964, when Paul McCartney, John Lennon, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr exploded onto America with a live performance on The Ed Sullivan Show. In the beginning, as much was made of their hair, my gosh, it's on their ears, than it was on their music. 5 songs that night. The first 3, All My Lovin', Till There Was You, and She Loves You. Ed Sullivan then went to some magic act, but the shrieks of an audience of females was almost too much, forcing Sullivan to admonish them, saying, if you don't keep quiet, I'm going to send for a barber. They finished with She Loves You and I Want to Hold Your Hand, which was already a Billboard #1. The Nielsen ratings that night were 45.3, which by equivalent is what you would get for the Super Bowl. Because of the lads from Liverpool, the British invasion was on, and music was never the same. It was a shock to much of the establishment in what would become the turbulent 60s. Newsweek magazine wrote shortly thereafter, visually they were a nightmare, kind of like this. But anyway, Newsweek went on to say tight, dandified Edwardian suits and great pudding bowls of hair. But by April, the Beatles would have 12 songs in the Billboard 100 and 5 in the top 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all belonged to the Beatles. And so for the next 6 years, until the band broke up at its apex in 1970, thanks a lot, Yoko, the Beatles would establish themselves as the greatest rock and roll band of all time. They had 15 songs, 15 that went to #1. Their 13 U.S. released albums sold over 209 million copies, and sales worldwide were over 1 billion. Rolling Stone magazine picked their top 100 songs of all time. 100! Most groups are fortunate to have a dozen songs. And in 2004, 34 years after they quit as a band, Rolling Stone magazine named them the greatest musical artists of all time. They even had their own Saturday morning cartoon show from 1965 to 69, and that's where a 10-year-old grew to the beat, if I knew what grew to the beat meant. All I know is I wanted to live in a yellow submarine. You know, something like Beatlemania would not happen today. We're much too connected than 50 years ago. For the first 5 years before they came to the U.S., the Beatles honed their talents at the Cavern Club in Liverpool, in Hamburg, Germany, in frenzied concerts. Now today, they would have been all over YouTube and Twitter. Cell phone cameras would have covered it all. And so by comparison, when they got to the U.S., there wouldn't have been as much Bobby Sox anticipation, no sense of surprise or wonder. But a magical convergence like the Beatles won't happen again either. They were the best that ever was and the best that ever will be. And this just isn't some middle-aged man talking either. Said Foo Fighters' Dave Grohl, born the year of the Beatles' last concert in 1969, the Beatles are the foundation of everything we do. Only 2, Paul and Ringo, remain, but the legend lives on. And CBS will recreate the magic this Sunday night, 50 years later. So young and old, we love them. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is 3 excruciating minutes out of the blue. Shake it up, baby, now twist and shout, twist and shout. Yeah.
Forget slow phone company DSL. Switch up to Suddenlink high-speed internet. The Suddenlink fiber-rich network delivers speeds up to 10 times faster than DSL with enough bandwidth for all your devices. Don't let DSL slow you down. Switch up to Suddenlink. It's easy.
You know, the Beatles only toured in the U.S. for maybe 2 or 3 years with their most famous concert, and maybe the most famous concert in the 20th century, at Shea Stadium in New York in 1965. You'll be the first to answer the trivia question today. You'll win a book bag from our friends at Suddenlink, or a USB power port to power up your iPod and listen to all those great Beatles tunes. Suddenlink, they love you. Yeah, yeah.